Good morning, and thank you for joining our panel today, where we will be discussing different aspects of filming in the DR and why the country is becoming a leading destination for filming in the region. I am Alejandra Bonetti, and I work as International Film Industry Advisor for the Dominican Republic Film Commission, and I will be your moderator today. We will also be answering some questions in the end from our viewers that are watching us live. So if you all are ready to begin, I will be introducing our panelists, and joining us today is Mariana Vargas, Film Commissioner to the Dominican Republic, Albert Martinez, COO of Lantica Media and Pinewood Dominican Republic Studios, Jeannie Marcelino, Production Services Provider and Director, and Chad Oakes, Producer and Co-Chairman of Nomadic Pictures. So let's begin with the first question, and this is addressed to Albert and Jeannie. Maybe Jeannie, you can start, and then Albert can add on this. Clearly, the Dominican Republic has seen a boom in the influx of productions that have chosen the country as a destination for their projects after the pandemic began. What do you think has driven this boom?
Well, the Dominican Republic has limitless options for locations inside, and that's the main attraction in my belief. And also we have a great tax credit incentive, which has worked perfectly with many productions. I don't want to say the last but least, the Dominican crew is getting better and better every time. So better trained people are working in the industry. And we as Dominicans have this natural hospitality inside our DNA. So I think the service we provide is very warm, is very professional, and that's the main reasons.
Great. Albert, would you like to add on that? There's something that you would mention?
Actually, Jenny is explained really well. The main reasons why people come. There's a variety of locations, there's great infrastructure, studios and the rest. A lot of equipment, really prepared crew, and an incentive that is very beneficial to producers because it includes above the line foreign casting crew and costs. So very competitive. So.
Okay. So let's move on to talk a little bit about the incentives and how they work, which is something that you both mentioned was something that was attractive for international producers. Mariana, can you talk a little bit about what makes them competitive to other jurisdictions as well as how they work?
Sure. So the main incentive why foreign productions are basically attracted to the Dominican Republic is the 25% transferable tax credit applicable on all qualifying expenses. And the basis or the list of qualifying expenses is quite broad. It even includes foreign cast and crew, which is different from other jurisdictions. We also offer an exemption on import taxes on all the equipment that has to be brought in from abroad for the production itself. The tax credit has a very robust and stable market in the Dominican Republic. Once they're out, they're sold or pre-sold in some cases very quickly. And even in the terms of discount rates, they're quite low. They're usually sold between a 6 to 10% discount rate.
Okay, and Chad, what makes, as a producer, what makes these incentives attractive for someone like you that is looking for a filming location?
Well, first off, I've had the pleasure of shooting in the Dominican now twice, and I have to tell everyone not to go to the Dominican Republic. It's terrible. The crews are not great. I'm kidding. My grandfather always taught me, if you take someone to your fishing hole or tell somebody where your fishing hole is, it's no longer your fishing hole. So if we tell everybody how great the Dominican is, then everyone will be there and I won't be able to come and be a part of your great country. I joke and jest, and I think Albert's having a heart attack right now. But no, it's we've been very, very, very fortunate. You come to, we've shot all around the world. Our company, Nomadic Pictures, is based in Canada, but we've done over $1 billion in production over the last 26 years. Shot all across Canada, shot in Fiji, many places in Europe, and of course, United States. For us as a production company and as a studio, location is number one, tax incentive is number two, and crew is number three. Although it's not necessarily in that order, it is absolutely all involved. So when you pick a place, you need to have those things. In 2017, we came and shot just one episode of The Detour, and we actually didn't access the tax credits. We just accessed Atlantica's amazing water tank and the locations. But when we, after that small 1 week shoot, we fell in love with the country and couldn't believe that all this incredible infrastructure was actually there a couple hundred miles off of the coast of the United States. So it was, and then I believe when we came back for The Island, our big Netflix show, the tax credits had changed and improved and became very, very competitive even up here in Canada. So it's important that, like I said, that you find a great location, a supportive crew, and then the tax rebates that will flow freely to the production company.
Great. So, Mariana, Chad mentioned this tax credit certificate, and is there an established market, and what is the cost? I mean, how does this work?
Yes, as I mentioned, there is a market. It's very robust, and it has gained a lot of confidence in the past years. So when tax credit is out, it's usually sold at the lowest 10% discount. It's between 6 to 10%. And in some cases, the tax credits are even pre-sold.
Great. And has there been a significant difference in the size of productions in these past 2 years?
Oh, yes, definitely. In the past year, I would say. So we would be usually handling in foreign spend and foreign productions, the tops $35 million per year. And this year, we expect to finish the year with at least $200 million in foreign productions, which is record-breaking in terms of the tax credits that will be issued and the type of projects that come into our country. That includes M. Night Shyamalan's Old, Shotgun Wedding, Arthur the King, and also Lost City of D.
What about you, Albert and Jeannie, as local producers? Have you seen a significant difference in these past 2 years? Maybe Albert, you can, and then Jeannie.
Yeah, we have. There has been two shifts essentially in foreign production shooting in the DR. One, Chad has made mention of, which is in 2018. Withholding tax, there was a tax ruling from the tax office that reduced the withholding tax for foreign cast and crew to 1.5%, and this is a very advantageous for foreign producers to make their cast and crew eligible, foreign cast and crew eligible in the country. That was the first shift. The second one, I think, happened last year, ironically, during COVID, which is that the DR, because of its younger population and it closed early, imposed this curfew, was slightly less affected with COVID than many other jurisdictions, including the US and European jurisdictions. And what we did was to create a very strong protocol to protect the productions from COVID and create these safe zones between the studio and the hotel and the location, with a lot of testing, zone A, B, and C, all the SAG protocols of testing 3 times a week, or PCR testing. So We've done probably 50,000 PCR tests in the last year, and what has happened is a lot of the jurisdictions that could not open, we seized the opportunity, and bigger productions started coming our way.
What about you, Jeannie? Have you seen a difference in the size or the number of productions that have come here in the past 2 years?
Yes, definitely. It has been a boom. Like Albert said, ironically, within a pandemic year, many big productions, middle-sized, small-sized productions have come here to shoot even for a week, or some scenes from Swedish movies, Holland, very international productions have come even for, a few days, but always having the same strong protocol. It doesn't matter if they come to shoot for a week or a month or 6 months, we have the same protocol. So I think that's the success of still having Dominican Republic on the spot, even though we have such a bad pandemic.
Yes. We're going to move on to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 health crisis, and how has the country handled this situation, and how do you think it affects international productions that come to the country? Because obviously it's something of concern, and so have the productions that you work with adhere to these protocols, and have they been efficient? Jeannie, maybe you can continue with this, and then Albert can elaborate also.
Oh yes, that has been always pre-established since the beginning, and everybody is very confident with the protocols that we follow here. And when they come here, it feels different. I think, I don't know if the climate, like some scientists say, helps, but in Dominican Republic, our weather conditions always help. So we have a lot of outdoors and scenery, so that helps a lot. And definitely it's been a plus to be in Dominican Republic.
Albert, and what are the specific protocols that have been implemented, and do these fulfill the SAC testing requirements?
Yes. So the first project we did so in March last year, we shut down the studio, 2.5 months, and early June, we opened again to host an M. Night Shyamalan feature, Universal Pictures feature, which was shot on location and at the studio. And for that, we had prepared Atlantica protocols that then were adapted to the US Union's protocols, so SAG, DGA, and IATSE, and so on. And the idea was that we would implement their protocols that had 3 basic principles. One was a lot of testing. So Zone A, which is who is close to the actors on set, test 3 times a week PCR, and Zone Bs and Cs, which are production offices and ancillary personnel, and then outside vendors and so on, that test once a week PCR. So the testing is crucial to the success of us working during COVID. And this has been very successful for us because we have a deal with a local lab that tests exclusively for film productions, and therefore is constantly using the 4 PCR machines just to service foreign productions and local productions too. So these guarantees results within 24 hours, which is crucial to the protocols. The testing is super important. Obviously, as I mentioned, the zones A, B, and C, and social distancing, PPEs, and so on, where everyone stays. So we try and find hotels that are of a size, so we take over the hotel. There are no outside guests. And if it's a bigger hotel, maybe we take a building and the other buildings are for outside guests. So there's a number of things that we've been doing that protects the foreign production and has proven successful, and not only with then Night Shyamalan's movie, but then Mark Wahlberg came with an E1 feature, and then Lionsgate made a very large feature with Josh Duhamel and Jennifer Lopez. And now we're in week 6 of Lost City of D, which is a Paramount feature as well. So
Great. And Chad, as a producer, I think you already mentioned this, but maybe you can explain a little bit more. What are your main considerations when you are looking for a location, and what do you consider is a main attraction that the DR has to offer to large TV and film productions?
Well, as I said, it's all about location, tax incentives, and crew. So maybe I can spend a little time talking about the amazing crew that's available. Again, we've traveled all around the world. For a producer such as ourselves, when you want to surround the director, you want to make sure you have the top available crew that you can find. A lot of times, even on Van Helsing season 5, when we went to Slovakia pre-pandemic last year, we brought a lot of our crew, and then when we came in on the island, we were so thrilled to find the level of crew that had the experience. And the good things about a strong crew base is more productions help them with their resumes, so they're able to build their careers as well. So we probably brought 45 or 50 people on the island. We are getting very close to closing off another show that we'll be returning next year, early next year, to the Dominican for 100 days of production. And I know that we'll probably bring less crew from Canada and the United States, knowing what's actually there and available to us. So.
Great. And
Alejandra, may I add something? Because I wanted to thank Chad, because when we were a maturing location, him and his partner, and their sense of adventure, sort of took a chance on the Dominican Republic, and that kind of vision. And I mean, he's not only an amazing producer, but personally, that kind of vision is rare to find. And so I wanted to thank you for your support all these years. It has been wonderful to learn from you and see how your company is so incredibly successful in Canada and around the world. It's really amazing. You don't stop producing, and that we have learned from you has been a blessing for us. So thank you.
No, well, thank you for your kind words, Albert. And the feeling's mutual, and it's and it goes both ways as well too. We've always learned that if you're not out there in the wheat leading the pack, you're somewhere way far behind. So, and if you don't risk, you can't gain. But every step of the way, not just as a producer, but as a businessman, we felt comfortable, we felt safe, and I think your time to shine during COVID was your opportunity to lead. Much like ourselves. Van Helsing season 5 went into production in June 28th, which was basically the first production, not just in Canada, but in North America, as in a dramatic TV series, to go back into production. So we were leading the way with, like you, creating COVID protocols while some people were in the corner shaking, cowering, sucking on their thumb and not knowing what was going on. We my partner, especially Mike Frislov, stepped up, and we created these protocols, which became the industry standards. And this was actually pre-SAG, pre-IATSE, and pre-union Canadian unions protocol. So it was a great opportunity to step up, and you guys have done the same. And I'm so thrilled to hear that you're so busy. But like I said to you last week, please don't. Make sure we have a crew that we come back. I don't want to be in line, fifth in line.
For you, always, Chad, always.
So Chad, you do have upcoming projects for the DR?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Yes, it's we just attached an A-list actor. It's a TV series. It actually will take place in the DR for the DR. It's a big DR story. So. A lovely story that may or may not center around Major League Baseball.
Great. So before we move on, Chad, how would you rate the DR cost effectively versus other areas in the region?
I would absolutely put it at the very top. For the crew, between crew rates, cost of hotels, apartments. I would, and one of the most important things for us in the business is safety. It's how safe when you bring your outside crew or your crew. Is there any issues? I think on the island, Albert, we had one incident where someone's hotel room got broken into, and within 8 hours of the situation, the local police had it handled. They had cameras and caught the person. In Canada, I don't think sometimes it takes months. So I thought it was because this happens all around the world, but it's how to react. So I can speak on behalf of my crew. Everybody felt, and cast, they felt very, very, very safe being down there. So.
Okay. You talked a little bit about talent and local crews. I would like to first ask Jeannie and Albert, as producers here, what do they like? Can you talk a little bit about like the crew and what you consider the strength and weaknesses, and how they work hand in hand with the foreign crew of these big productions, and then maybe Chad can weigh in and talk about his specific experience. So, Jeannie, can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yes, for sure. Local crew, as you may know, most of them have not gone to school, like to study about filming, but the empiric is very much more important. So they have been trained together with foreign productions crew who has been coming to the country, in my experience, since let's say as early as 2007. We've worked with TV series for Discovery, Nat Geo, and all of those type of networks. So the local crew has been training on site. After that, more and more people have had access to universities, including local universities. We have already about 3 universities teaching filming. So that has helped a lot. And there is a very important thing. Local crew, most of them are bilingual. They speak English, and many of them speak even French. So we have a very, well-trained crew, and with very sufficient languages to communicate, because the language barrier is terrible when they don't speak that language. So I think that's been a plus. And also they work so hard, and they learn in every production. They work better for the next one. So that's been, in my experience, they get very well along with the foreign crew, and they follow instructions, and they are so eager to learn, and it's great. It keeps them with a great attitude.
Great. Albert, would you like to add to that?
The industry, so the incentives were created in 2011, and think of it as there used to be maybe 2 or 3 films made a year, and now there's 30 local films plus 15 foreign productions. So it's kind of quite the turnaround in 8 years, 9 years, or 10 years now, 2021. So it's a real success story, and this has happened also in education. So even in the past, people learned, as Jenny was talking about, empirically in every film. Now there's probably 5 or 6 schools that are teaching film courses, and some universities that have film careers. So there's a new generation of youngsters that will leave university with a film degree and join the industry. So it's sort of the country has, the industry has been created and is sustainable now for the next generation because of this training, because of these new universities giving that type of education, and for us to continue promoting the DR as a destination, and people like Chad coming to shoot their projects. And it will create this sustainability for 20, 30, 40, 50 years and beyond. So, yeah.
Great. So, Albert, the Dominican Republic has world-class studios from the Pinewood Group. Can you talk about a little bit about them and what are the greatest advantages that they offer?
Well, the great icon is the water tank, which is essentially, there are not many facilities like ours. Well, there are many water tanks to start with. And ours is the most modern, and to me, it's like a big toy, and it's really wonderful place to shoot content. So the sound stages are, like many other sound stages. We have the sort of the added construction necessity to build them stronger than maybe some other locations because of tropical storms. But otherwise, is a facility that is comparable to anywhere really. It's certainly anywhere in Latin America and many of the ones when I used to live in the UK. It's a Pinewood branded studio and has all the standards and health and safety requirements from Pinewood, and they have almost 100-year history of running studios. So it's a great place to be and make your TV shows and movies.
Great. And Chad, what was your experience like working there with with the studios?
It's great. It's again world class on a beautiful tropical island, surrounded by amazing people. Where else could you go to live life? Our life is only so long or so short, and it's again, we've been able to over 100 projects and $1 billion in production in 26 years. We've been very fortunate to experience a beautiful place. I remember one of the very first times that I went to the Dominican. I was 20 years old. It was one of the first times I actually left Canada. And I chose, so I've been going, now that I'm 53, I've been going there for 33 years as a tourist. So when we were looking for a water tank, and Jason Jones, the creator of the Detour, said, well, why don't we just shoot in the Dominican? I'm like, what? Water tanks in the Dominican? And as soon as I went online and found these incredible studios, just a couple miles from the beach, and you've got all this infrastructure in a distant location, and so close and so accessible. Another thing is important. The Dominican Republic has more direct flights from Canada in season than it does any other Caribbean island or Hawaii. So I know Canadians have been, coming as tourists and coming as guests to your beautiful country for a long time. So being able to do what we do in the film and entertainment business there is it's truly a blessing.
Great. Mariana, how does a co-production work in the DR, and what are the necessary requirements?
So co-productions work similar to other jurisdictions. There's a requirement of having a co-production agreement between both the Dominican party and the foreign party. And there's a nationality requirement that has to be met. That includes having a local producer, meeting some minimum local cast and crew requirements. But co-productions usually apply for different type of incentives. That's more drawn towards local or national film industry. We've had a lot of experience since the law was enacted in terms of co-production. We've had around 60 co-productions. That includes co-productions with Argentina, Mexico, Colombia, United States, Spain, of course, a lot with Spain. So it's not that hard, and it's quite easy, honestly.
And what are the visa requirements, and how long do they take to be issued?
So visas are not required if you come into the Dominican Republic and if the stay is shorter than 30 days. So you come in and you buy in an entry ticket, which it's usually charged in the airfare. It could be extended in some cases. It's usually extended for foreign cast and crew members when they come in.
Okay. And Jeannie and Albert, maybe Jeannie can start answering this question, and then Albert can weigh in. What is the process like once a production reaches out to you, saying that they are interested in filming here? Like, can you describe a little bit about how you proceed, how the process works?
Sure. Well, it depends on the size of the production, but usually the same approach is common for everyone. It's an email, it's a phone call, it's a referral from somebody from the film commission. So we make contact and we talk about the project. The first step will be to find the right location. So usually in my position, I prefer to look for the location myself. Then I I ask for help. Location managers to follow on. So after we find the location and we send pictures, and then we get talking more and more about budgeting and then scheduling dates and what the needs are in the Dominican Republic. But location, I would say, is the number one. After that would be all the needs that come along with the process and the production. And then eventually a very short visit for the first scout. And that is when everything takes place and things go more concrete. So that's the process. After that, with the film commission asking for the submitting for the permit, it takes like hours. And fortunately, we have advanced a lot with customs as well. Before it took a few days to get a permit. Nowadays, to import a container of equipment, it takes no more than 48 hours with the help of the film commission, of course, because they have done a very good job with customs in that sense. So it makes it really easier. I would say within 8 days, we have all the permits necessary to start establish an office for pre-production. Albert, what else am I missing?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's exactly as you say. So the creative component, can we make the projects in the DR? Are the locations right for the script? Then financial, which is how much does it cost to make the show or the movie in the DR? And what's the incentive? What's the calculation and what the expected discount? So what's the net benefit for the foreign production? So yeah, creative and financial. Then logistically, one needs to get the single shooting permit, PUR in Spanish, and that's the date of its issuance. It's when the costs start being eligible for the incentive. So that's crucial to get things going.
Great. And what is the shipping and customs process like? Do you need to, like, foreign productions need to import film equipment?
I could say it goes both ways. It's we always offer what we have in the country and send some quotes. But sometimes, like especially for TV series and TV shows, when you need like 25 cameras of the same type, that might be hard to find locally. So they bring it, and they're allowed to bring all kinds of equipment with no taxes and bonds because of the filming law. So that's the way we do it, and we request the permit to the film commission and customs simultaneously. So it takes no more than 48 hours to be approved.
Okay, great. And Mariana, how would you, this is a question actually from our viewers. How would you describe, Mariana, the overall government and institutional support and facilities for filming in terms of like speed, reach, and permitting?
Well, I think it has improved in the past months. We've learned to adapt our processes, and I think there's an overall interest in pushing this industry forward. We've received a lot of support from local municipalities, from the Ministry of Environment, from the guys at Customs. So everyone's focused in pushing this industry forward and trying to expedite as much as possible all the processes. So I would say I think we're in the right track, and everyone is very much aligned in what we want as a country.
Okay, great. I'm going to be taking some questions from the audience. Albert, what do you offer as a service provider company other than infrastructure of the film studios?
Well, we are your service provider that essentially will set up an SPV, a company. Mm-hmm. That is the one that will be entitled for the incentive and will contract every single local personnel or hotel or food or equipment. So everything will be contracted by the local producer, and then we'll support, advise, and help produce the show or the movie as the instructions of the producer. The most important thing is that our job is to service and to make the film as successful as possible for the person who's developed and made a huge effort to bring it to us. So, but it includes anything you can think of really in the process of producing.
Okay, and Chad, this question is for you. How was your experience with the local crew in Netflix The Island?
It was great. It was amazing. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen when you bring in your crew from Canada, United States, and meld them and marry them together with a local crew, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I believe it was day 1 or day 2, and we're shooting on that big, beautiful beach. If you've seen The Island, where we shot it north of on the island, and we had a couple of Gripson Electrics from Canada that were bringing the big crane, pushing it across the sand, and within 10 feet it got stuck. And the local Gripson Electrics came over. There was a little bit of banter, a little bit of talk, grabbed a bunch of these 16-foot 2x12s, laid them in the sand, and just started pushing it. So it was like, this is island power. This is how you do things on the sand, where our Canadian crew are used to, working in the prairies or in the mountains or in the snow. Throw some sand in there, and they got really confused fast. So it was a lovely meld, a lovely marriage between the know-how of the local crew with the expertise of our crew. And I think there was a reciprocated respect going back and forth. Hence why every one of our crew from Canada that we took down, every single one says, when you're ready to return on your next show, please take me with you.
Great. And we have a question for Jeannie. Can you describe a little bit about the process of scouting locations once a foreign production reaches out to you?
Sure. Scouting locations for me is one of the most exciting steps in the way, because it's the very first one. And it will define whether Dominican Republic is the place, is the chosen place. So I put my best effort on that. And the process is, as soon as I hear what the show is about and what they want, then in my mind, it's immediately a lot of pictures going on. So I start rolling and taking the road. So taking pictures, sending pictures back, and we start the exchange of ideas. And okay, it works better here. Why? Because there is something very special we need to consider. A great location with a great accommodation nearby for the crew. So that combination sometimes is a challenge due to some remote locations that are so beautiful and so perfect for the shoot. But then the accommodation, it's a challenge to find. But we always make it happen. Actually, that's my slogan. We make it happen.
Great. For Mariana, we have a question here. How does our incentive compare to others in the region?
As I mentioned, I think the fact that within the qualifying spend, we include the fees of foreign cast and crew members, that's a differentiating aspect from other incentives. Then the market we have. So more than the incentive itself, it's the market we have, which responds in a quite efficient way. So as I said, tax credits have a very low discount rate, and that's why it's so attractive. And they're sold pretty quickly because there is a market, in fact.
Great. And what projects have recently shot here during COVID? Can you name a couple of them?
Yeah, sure. Well, aside from the ones Albert mentioned, he mentioned Arthur the King, that's Mark Wahlberg's. He also mentioned M. Night Shyamalan's Old, J-Lo's Shotgun Wedding, now Lost City of D, that's from Paramount. We have also a lot of reality TV, We have Turkish Survivor, Scandinavian Survivor, Hungary Survivor, a lot of Survivor, a lot of Spanish reality as well, Isla de Tentaciones. So we have a lot of reality TV being shot in the Dominican Republic.
Great. And another question from our audience is, what is DR doing accordingly to get prepared for like bigger films and making them more interested in filming here?
I think we're working towards sustainability, of course, and focusing on the three main aspects: the crew, the incentives, maintaining the incentives and its attractability. And also we're strengthening the infrastructure, of course, and the availability of local vendors. In terms of locations, we always have the locations we have. So we want to make sure that all processes are, the processes that productions have to go through are available and are also easy to complete.
And Jeannie and Albert, would you like to add something to that? In terms of
training is fundamental for us because we are a young industry. Atlantica created an NGO called Internacional Cinematográficos del Caribe, ECC. We've invested probably $2 million in the last few years training personnel. That is our number one priority for sustainability. And obviously, the more projects that come, the more these trainings are justified because they go into the productions with our training and then learn a huge amount in those productions. So for us, long term, essentially, we need two things: more training, more personnel to be well trained and qualified, and a legal, how do you call these, a government stability. We've always, the DR has government stability, but the support for the industry has been growing and growing internally, and that has been crucial for foreign producers to want to come back. And that's long-term one of the crucial aspects of our job as well, which is to prove to our authorities that the film industry is bringing a lot of investment, foreign investment in, which is much needed, and for the government to keep supporting us. The current government is actually very supportive, and the Film Commission has done a wonderful job in supporting the local producers and production services companies to achieve their objectives. And that sort of working conjunction has been incredibly successful in the last 18 months.
Great, thank you. Jeannie, would you like to add something to that?
Yes, the same. I would say exactly repeat the same words. Definitely, we look forward for every day more and more coherence within the governmental institutions, and wishing the best for the Film Commission to achieve that, which they have been working so hard on that. So that's my best wish, to have everybody on the same page and eager to receive many productions from abroad.
Thank you. So as we get ready to wrap this panel, there is another question for Mariana from Lolita Moon Productions. Why is 1.5 million the max a DR company can invest in a co-production project?
I think she's probably referring to the budget that's currently approved at the Film Commission for Dominican films. So through public policy, we've had to establish caps on the budgets for Dominican films. So it's currently at around 1.5, depending on the characteristics of each project. But it's around 1.5. We have to take into account that the incentive that's applied for the Dominican films is very different from the transferable tax credit. At the end of the day, it's states' money, government's money that's drawn toward the production. It's fully financed basically by the government. And since there's no overall cap on the local production side, we've had to establish for each project some sort of limits, and that's how we ended up with the 1.5.
Okay, well, thank you all for participating. I don't, if there is anything else that you would like to add to this discussion and panel, you can let me know. But I think we have covered the main points, and don't know if anybody wants to add something.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for organizing the time and tuning in. And thank you, Chad, especially for joining us. I know you're very busy with your new production.
Well, last day of photography up here in Vancouver, and all I can say is looking forward to seeing all your smiling faces in person in January of next year. Fingers crossed to close off our next big show.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for
Chad.
joining today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.